tonight. First on Fox, our cameras were rolling as an accused serial DUI offender was brought back to jail by bounty hunters.
In January of 2016, she was charged with manslaughter for killing 20-year-old Chesray Young after police say he slammed into the back of his car while driving drunk in Tempe. Felix, 18 at the time, was a passenger in Chesray's car.
Everything was just like a flash, and I woke up just lost in the hospital. I had broke 7 ribs, broke my sternum, my scapula, and my lungs collapsed, and so I went 15 to 20 minutes without oxygen.
Felix was in a coma for a month. He had to learn how to walk and talk again. He still suffers with severe memory loss. And now the family feels like they're living through the tragedy all over again. This after Chu was arrested last week in Scottsdale and charged with aggravated DUI. He was out on bond at the time. After having his bail revoked, he was brought back to jail last night by bounty hunters.
When we actually saw the news report, that's when it took me right back to the moment when I walked into that hospital that night and my son was in that bed, unrecognizable. He had a thing sticking out of his skull, tubes coming out of him. It took me right back to that.
Man, I know I talk about sobriety a lot. I push sobriety, and you know, you've heard, if you into my channel, you've heard the story before. I push sobriety because it was starting to really affect my life in a really negative and life-lasting, you know, just really bad way, to where I was screwing my life up. So that's why I push sobriety. And for the people who are hurt, who deal with alcoholism or drug use, so they can, you know, hear some inspiring stories and how to move forward. And also it's for the young people who are coming up, who might not yet have an issue with drugs and alcohol. It would deter them from going down that route and potentially ruining their life and putting it on a really bad trajectory, and leading into really bad outcomes. Everybody is not gonna be into sobriety. I can dig it. It took me a while to get it in my head, and it took a few punches in the gut and a few kicks in the head for me, you know, not literally, just from life in general. Not nobody kicked me in the gut or in the head or whatever, but just from life, man. That's what it feel like. These devastating blows, you know, from life can hit you, man, from all type of ways, from stuff that's out of your control to stuff that you could have possibly prevented. So I understand people are not going to be into sobriety, but I understand you want to have a good time and it's the holidays. I understand that. But the message of this video, or what I'm going to be pushing, is if you're going to drink responsibly, and don't drink and drive. That's going to be the message that I'm driving home in this video. I'm going to be going into a few cases of DUI crashes, some really heartbreaking stories about people that have died due to DUI crashes, whether they were hit by somebody or they died themselves as a result of being intoxicated. It really hits home for me. I was hit by a drunk driver, totaled one of my cars out. I was actually driving for Uber, and we got hit on the freeway doing about 70 miles an hour, and we slammed into the center divider. We were both okay. The guy that hit us actually flipped his car on the side, totaled my Chevy Malibu out, and he was arrested. One of my Facebook friends who had a very promising career, He was about 32 years old. It's about, the same time I got my first one. I was like 33. He had a very promising career, similar stories. And he was involved in a crash that killed somebody and severely injured another. Somehow he was able to bond out of that situation and was on the run, and he got, I guess, another DUI or something like that. And pretty much, man, it was all bad. The message I want to drive home is that it's the holidays. There's going to be a spike in drunk drivers. There's going to be a spike in DUI arrests. There's going to be a spike in DUI deaths. There's going to be a spike in DUI crashes. I just donated to MAD. I donated $1,000 to MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. So, like I said, if you're not into sobriety and sobriety is not for you, the best thing you could do is don't drink and drive. Aside from the fact that alcohol takes people out of their right mind, and they tend to do things that they normally wouldn't, or it amplifies hostile behavior, just gets you too loose sometimes. That's that. But drinking and driving is probably one of the, one of the worst things you can do in your life. And all it takes is one time for you to ruin your life and somebody else's life. Yeah, you'll probably eventually get out of jail. You'll probably get a chance to rebuild your life. But the lasting impact on the victim is forever. If you kill somebody or you maim somebody, they have to live with that forever. While after you do your time and get to rebuild your life, yeah, it's going to stick with you forever. It's going to be a traumatic experience for you forever. They can follow you forever, but you're still here. If you didn't, severely injure yourself, which is very possible. Very possible. I had a buddy of mine, he flipped a car and his passenger received some serious injuries. I know people that have died from DUI crashes. I had a uncle-in-law who died from a DUI crash. So, and I'm pretty sure we all know somebody who has been affected by DUIs, whether they went to prison over DUIs, whether they have a family member that they lost over DUIs. And sometimes that's not enough to stop people from drinking and driving. See, here's the thing, man. When you are intoxicated, and this is why I push sobriety for myself so much and for others, you lower your ability to make, those proper decisions and use discernment of whether this is a good idea or a bad idea. So you tend to not think properly. You're not thinking. So have a plan in place for you and your family members to not have to get behind the wheel after being intoxicated. There's Uber. They're gonna have AAA, for the New Year's, and they're giving free rides. So have a plan in place to where you have a designated driver. You don't have to get behind that wheel. You don't have to get a DUI. Just getting a regular DUI. That sometimes that can be a blessing, because if you didn't kill anybody, you didn't get into a wreck, you didn't injure yourself, that's the initial wake-up call for you to get that problem in order and get that fixed so you won't do that again. Some people are hard-headed, they don't listen, some people do. So, I'm going to go into a case of a guy that was my Facebook friend. So, his name is Stan. He was my Facebook friend, and he used to post a lot of, cool stuff on Facebook about, things that he would do, and really nice meals, and the success story of his sales career and how good things in life were going for him, buying a house and, going on vacation. It was inspirational. Eventually, I stopped hearing from Stan or seeing his posts, and somehow I was looking at his page or something, and somebody says, "Has anybody heard from Stan?" Or no, man, I looked in the comments and it said, "Stan's in jail," and so I looked a little further into it. And somebody said Stan's in prison. He got 15 years in prison. Apparently he got into a big wreck. Somebody died. Somebody was severely injured. It's devastating for those people's families, the person's life that was lost, and the person who was severely injured. You could also say it's devastating for Stan, even though we could also say the punishment fits the crime, right? It's still devastating in a life path that we don't have to put ourselves through. And for me, not drinking and driving and not drinking at all is something that I made the decision that I don't ever want to do. I don't want to drink anymore. And if I do just so happen to relapse on alcohol, you got to have a plan in place to get back on the wagon and get back sober. Have a plan in place, have a network of people you talk to, whether it's AA meetings, a therapist, rehab, you name it. So I'm going to speed up the video. I know I don't want to bore you, but so Stan, he ended up bailing out. I'm pretty sure that cost a ton of money. But his life is, like I said, he had a promising career. He's making a lot of money. And so he was able to bail out and go back to work while he was, his case was ongoing. He had court dates. Apparently, bounty hunters had to get him. He got into either another DUI or another crash. Bounty hunters hauled him in. There was personal blowout. And it's like at the point that you took a life and injured somebody, totaled a car, a very expensive car, and could have killed yourself, the light bulb didn't click in your head that I'm facing this case. I just killed somebody. I just killed somebody. The light bulb doesn't click in one's head that I need to seek help for alcoholism. That's very poor decision making, and that is indicative of the alcoholic brain. You're not thinking correctly. You're just continuously drinking. And that depression of what he did could lead to him to drink more, to feel like he needs to escape the reality of his actions. So it's a slippery slope, and it's, you're using alcohol to combat depression. I did a video about that, about you can't do that. It's just only going to compound your problems, and this is exactly what it did. Now, even if he would have got treatment, cleaned his life up, got off the alcohol or substances, he's still facing this case regardless. You're still facing this case regardless. You're going to have to face these problems sober, right? But the fact that he didn't quit and stay clean compounded that existing problem and elevated it and made it worse. Okay, now if you're still continually going out there and doing these actions, you're gonna reap what you sow. So the best bet for anybody is to, if they go through something like that, is to put that bottle down, because it puts you in that situation to begin with, and it's gonna make your situation worse. It's gonna elevate it even more to where you kill somebody else or kill yourself. When I sat back and thought, man, what if a drunk driver killed my wife and my child? That really hit me. And that even caused me to have anxiety and stress and depression and fear. I don't know if I could take it. I don't know how I would react. Am I gonna drink? Is my life just gonna implode? How would I feel about that? You gotta ask yourself these same questions. What if a drunk driver took your family member's life? How would you feel about that? Ask yourself that question anytime you think about getting behind a wheel intoxicated. What if a family member took your life and your kids had to live with that? What if you didn't have life insurance and you were the only breadwinner of the family and your family really depended on you? How would you feel about that? It's devastating. Okay, and it's totally avoidable. It's totally avoidable, man. You know, so if like I said, if sobriety isn't for you, I understand sometimes we have to get there in life to where we can make that step. Some do, some don't. Some don't need to go through a program. Some don't need to do AA meetings. But the best thing that you could do, and this is the message that I'm sending out here, being that it's the holidays, we just went through Thanksgiving, Christmas is coming up, New Year's, is don't drink and drive. You ruin your life, man. You can get away with it a lot. You can. But all it takes is one time. All it takes is one time, man. And your life is over, or somebody else's life is over. So think about that, man. Don't let your friends get behind the wheel drunk. Don't get behind the wheel drunk yourself. Push this message out here for the holidays, because thousands of people are getting killed by drunk drivers. Hundreds of thousands. Hundreds of thousands of people are being injured by drunk drivers. Hundreds of thousands of people are throwing away their career from drunk driving, or their life, or ruining their family's life. Just don't do it, man. But it's as simple as that. It's totally preventable. It is totally preventable, man. So Stan, he went to prison. He was sentenced to 15 years. And he caught another case, like a drug possession, in jail, and had some fighting and all that. You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, so now, probably gonna do that entire 15 years. Ain't gonna, might not get out early. Might extend that jail sentence beyond 15 years because he couldn't get in control of that substance abuse, or being around that element, and it's continuously affecting Stan even after he's incarcerated. So that's why I push the sobriety and seeking help for substance abuse. Because once it gets a grip on you, man, it just sinks the talons in on you, man, and makes it feel like life is not worth living. It makes you feel like I have to drink or use because this is all I have and my life is already over. I'm just gonna throw it away. That's what it'll have you feeling like, man. Spread this message. Spread this message to people that need to hear this. The young people, the young adults. Before you throw your life away, listen to what I'm saying about this substance abuse. And we all have our are stereotypes of what an alcoholic looks like, right? Older, some might think a white male, or older or black male, a bum. We all have these stereotypes of what we think an alcoholic or a drug addict looks like. But in reality, you have a lot of professionals who are alcoholics and drug addicts. They just become extremely accustomed to hiding it, and to maintain their image. But eventually, it'll get the best of them. Okay? Eventually, it'll get the best of them. Some events in life happen, and it starts getting you down and out, and pretty soon you can't mask the fact that you're a dope fiend or a drunk. I've been to rehab programs and people that you would never expect. Just look really together, professional people, but they got this dirty secret. It's not the stereotypical image of what you think it is all the time. It could be a retired person who just has too much time on their hands. That's what I was saying in that other video. Idle hands is the workshop of the devil. You got all this time on your hand. Oh, I'm gonna have me a few shots, and then it just builds and builds and builds. What are the signs of alcoholism? What are the signs? Because I'm not saying everybody's alcoholic or a drunk. What are the signs? Okay, if you feel you got to drink every day, if you drink it in the morning, even if you don't drink every day, but you're noticing the negative things in your life or the drama are centered around your drinking, whether you got a DUI or you get into fights, arguments with your wife, your husband, if you're noticing, even if you don't drink every day, the times that you do drink, you start running into the most problems that affect your life, that's when alcohol is a problem. So you don't necessarily have to be a drunk, but these things in your life happen when you were drunk, right? So think about that, man. Don't be in denial. Think about these life choices, man. That's just the main topic of what I want to say about that. There was another case in the Bay Area where a guy was drunk driving and he hit a mother and a child and killed them both. Took their life over something totally avoidable. It's totally a selfish act. Anytime you get behind the wheel of a vehicle intoxicated, whether it's off alcohol or drugs or marijuana, it's a selfish act. He killed these two people. He was sentenced to 25 years in prison. 25 years in prison. And if you haven't conquered this alcohol addiction problem, there's nothing to stop you from getting drunk in prison, which is probably one of the worst places you could ever drink because it's already so volatile. It's already a hostile environment. You're already in a state of depression, and it's just going to compound your problems. Remember, the alcohol is not a means to combat depression. Alcohol is a depressant, so it's going to make that depression worse. At the moment that you're drinking, you might feel better, but the aftermath and when you get sober could be worse. It will be worse. Alcohol, you can build a dependency on alcohol to where if you don't ever have alcohol, your body has physical symptoms. It can compound your depression. It can make you more depressed. It is a depressant. It makes some people more outgoing, it makes you more loose. It makes you pop off at the mouth. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that got into altercations intoxicated and they got into these fights and they either beat somebody severely or they got beat severely. So that's just for me, man. Like I said, I'm sober. I'm gonna be sober. You can do what you want to do, but please, please don't drink and drive. Don't take somebody's family out here, somebody's life. I'd be devastated if it happened to me. I lost several children that had never even made it into the world. I have one child. I would be so devastated if something happened to my child, like a drunk driver. I'd be crushed. I'd be broken, man. I don't know if I'd ever recover from it. I just don't know. I don't know if I can handle it. You know, this shit makes me want to cry right now just thinking about it, man. It is serious. Please don't drink and drive. Please, man. There was another case of a habitual drunk driver. Got several DUIs. Slammed into a family of 5. Killed everybody. Killed all 5 people in the car. Totally unnecessary. Totally uncalled for. Totally preventable. Totally broken. This man probably will never get out of prison. Never. And we could say the punishment fits the crime, right? Punishment fits the crime. Because these people will never get their lives back. He was a habitual drunken driver. There's people that's serving time in prison who just couldn't stop because they never thought to get help. So that's a lesson to the young people. Don't put yourself in a situation to where you are a slave to these substances. When we hear these rappers talking about popping bottles and popping mollies, that's the devil's music, man. For real. You don't want to ingest that on a daily basis. You don't. It's the wrong message. Now, you or me might be able to build to handle certain hardships in life, and but can you imagine some of our kids are not, because they're not used to seeing certain things. Life in general is better. They're a little bit softer generation. But now if we constantly giving our kids these negative images of us being drunk or high, they're more inclined to do it themselves. And so even if you don't ruin your life, what if your child did because they learned that bad behavior from you? Now you have to experience that too. You have to experience the heartache of your child being intoxicated because they killed somebody drunk and driving, right? Think about these things, people. Got to be positive examples for our children. So that's the big rant. It's a big rant, but it's serious, man. It's the holidays. Don't drink and drive. Play it safe, and pray for these people, man. Pray for these people. Pray for these families. Pray for these people that can't stop drinking, get you some help if you got a drinking problem, man. You feel free to reach out to me and communicate and about if you got a drinking problem or not, and you want to get some help, man. I could point you in the right direction. I mean, that's the best it's up to you though. You got to really want to stop drinking. You got to really want it. But like I said, if it's not for you, just don't drink and drive. That's all I got to say. It's already a long enough rant. December, I'm take a little break from YouTube. I'm gonna schedule some uploads. I got some content that I haven't uploaded yet, so I'm gonna schedule these uploads to come out maybe one or two a week or something like that for the month of December. I might post a video or something here or there, but I'm gonna just focus on me and some family things and focusing on mental health, clarity, getting ready for 2020. We're gonna step the game up, man. While I might not be while I might have some scheduled content coming out, I'm gonna still be brainstorming some good YouTube ideas. So, you know, we're gonna hit it hard in 2020. Hopefully YouTube, you know, with these new rules coming out, they're not, you know, they ain't gonna take me out, you know. So what I need y'all to do is like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, man. Get me to 1,000 subscribers. So we show YouTube that it's a relevant message that needs to be heard. I'm not gonna always go into DUI stuff and sobriety, but I'm gonna touch on it because it's important for me and it's an important message to put out there. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's all I gotta say about that. We're gonna end this video here. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a happy and safe holiday. You know, it ain't gonna be happy if you get busted or you know, somebody get killed, or you know, so just play it safe, you know, and enjoy life. On that note, my name is Mr. 707 and I'm out. I'm shattered, I'm bullied, man, I'm achieving yourself. The popo, the trooper, man, they surprise checking.